Hey everyone, Ronan here, and welcome back to the channel. We got a lot of things to cover today, but before we get into that, we gotta shout out the patron as usual. So Kevin Malula, thank you very much for the continued support. And also, everyone, analytics are very important, so please make sure you take the time to like the video and drop a comment so that way it'll help get to a larger audience and fuel the algorithm. And if this is your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that way you'll never miss another upload from the channel. But with all that being said, let's get into what if Ash won the Pokemon World Tournament Season 3, The Heart and Soul Journeys, Part 2. I hope you enjoy. We begin today's part, not in the present, but a few months before the current moment in time. It is the exact moment when Giovanni escaped the Tree of Beginning, leaving Ash and his friends to their certain doom. As a flash of light envelops what was once a dark room, Giovanni and Morty are alone as the Rocket leader curses the actions of Ash. Every time the boy gets involved with his affairs, Team Rocket is made to look like fools. Fed up with the consistent failures with Team Rocket and secretly himself as a leader, Giovanni asks Morty if they have had any luck in tracking down the source of power they needed in order to open the portal. Morty informs Giovanni that they have narrowed the search. What they seek seems to be in the southern half of the region. Once Dr. Nembra arrives, they should be able to build something to hone in on the signal of the source of power. What about our operations in Kanto? Boss Rocket inquires. Morty informs him that due to their recent actions, it looks like the newest member of the Elite Four, Sabrina, made Lance and the one called Looker aware of the Rocket's attempts at Silco. They have captured the Rocket base and everyone there. No matter, Giovanni smirks, as he looks over a room that they stand in, as shelves upon shelves of Dynamax pills that Namba developed line the walls. Put out the word to any Romanian operatives that have avoided capture. Tell them to make their way to the Lake of Rage at once. It's time for Operation Resurrection to commence. Now we fast forward as we find ourselves in the town of Azalea, in the home of the Pokeball maker Kurt. We see a familiar scene as the old man is hammering away at some of his custom Pokeballs. Above his workstation sits a ball that came into his possessions a few years back, the GS ball. The man was charged with finding out its secrets and to open it so they could see what's inside. However, Kurt has been unsuccessful in his endeavors up until this point. But the question is, was this by choice? Kurt is a smart man and the leading expert of Pokeballs, so for him to have just given up on something like this means there has to be a good reason. However, while he hides his secrets inside, there is one thing the old forger cannot hide, and that's the energy that the ball has been giving off. At first, Kurt thought he was going crazy, but that was proven wrong, as just like now, a pulse of energy is emanating from the ball. While this isn't something the old man would normally be worried about, as most Pokeballs give off an energy when there is something captured inside of them, what has the man uneasy is the feeling he gets when he feels the energy. It brings terror to the man's soul, as Kurt can do nothing but shake. One day he noticed something about the ball that wasn't there before. A small crack had appeared around the seal of the ball. The old man couldn't explain it, but he knew this was a bad sign. But there was a problem. The origins of the ball were unknown, and because of this factor, Kurt didn't know the first thing about repairing it. Knowing he couldn't just wait around to find out what was going to happen, Kurt decided to take a small sliver of material from the cracked area and send it for testing to a friend of his in the Hoenn region, the president of the Devon Corporation, Mr. Stone. It took a few days, and in that time, the crack had slowly widened with surges of energy happening more frequently, but Kurt was able to get his answer that he sought. The ball was made of a material that can only be found in one place, the tallest mountain in the world that stands at the center of the Sinnoh region, Mount Coronet. Knowing he couldn't waste any time, Kurt set out for the region of the north, arriving in the port city of Canalave. With the help of Cynthia, the region's champion, Kurt was able to find the materials needed to fix the GS ball, though it took many weeks of searching around the mountain. Once the repairs had been made, the master crafter returned to Johto, thinking he had done good work. However, that was months ago, and since then, the ball has cracked 3 more times, with each bigger than the last. He's not sure what is in this Pokeball, but one thing is for certain. Kurt is running out of materials to fix it, and once that happens, then the world itself may be in grave danger. Kurt just watches the ball, each of his days consumed with the task of maintaining its integrity, hoping that a solution more permanent will quickly reveal itself. Now we pick up with our heroes Ash and Go. They've found themselves in the region of Johto, as they sit in a very familiar place to Ash, Silver Stadium, that sits at the base of the giant Mount Silver. While normally this would be the site of the Johto League Silver Conference, today the stadium is packed for a much different reason, as as the conference had just concluded. There is a championship match taking place between the most unlikely of participants. One Ash knows all too well, as it is not only the current champion of the Johto and Kanto regions, but ranked 2 overall in the world, Lance, the Pokemon G-Man and Dragon Master, while across from him is someone that is famous across the Johto region for her philosophy of using Pokemon that are your favorites to achieve power, the strongest member of the Johto Elite Four, Karen. The two are in the midst of a battle to determine the future champion of the region. We find them in the final moments as Karen is able to use her ace Houndoom to take down Lance's beloved Dragonite after using a combination of Nasty Plot and Dark Pulse to cause massive damage to the Dragon type after it had been infected with a toxic by her Umbreon before it was taken out. This leaves Lance down to his final Pokemon, which he wastes no time in sending into battle. In recent years, this Pokemon is something that Lance has become known for as much as his trademark Dragonite. As the red Gyarados hits the field, Lance is feeling confident as his Serpent is not only strong, but has the type advantage, telling Karen that this battle is over and he would rather not bring harm to her Pokemon. However, the Elite demonstrates her resolve by telling the Dragon Master that things like that don't matter to her. The only thing that matters is that she and her Pokemon are one and have the same goals, which Houndoom reciprocates with a growl as it stares down Gyarados unflinchingly. Well, I guess it's the hard way. Now, my Serpent, use Hydro Pump. A burst of water is shot across the battlefield, aiming to one-shot the Demon Dog. However, Tenacity is going to prove to be the difference maker here, as Karen orders Houndoom to use a flamethrower. The fire attack is able to match the water in power, causing steam to build across the stadium. This is perfect as it gives Houndoom a place to move stealthily as Gyarados commences with a Dragon Dance at the command of its trainer. This allows it to move at a speed that it can track Houndoom as it attempts to smash the Dark type with an Aqua Tail. However, Karen has been waiting for just this moment as she commands a Thunderfang to minimize the damage and cause some of her own. This leaves the two in a stalemate, with Lance commenting that it seems Karen has reached her limits as his dragon possesses a naturally raw power far above that of your regular Pokemon. However, the Elite is smiling in the face of this seemingly utter defeat that Lance has predicted as she tells Lance this is the reason he will lose, because he relies on things that are naturally strong rather than seeking strength. Karen brushes her hair aside to reveal something she had been saving for just this moment, a keystone. With a bone-chilling howl from Houndoom, the beast of the underworld shows a keystone hidden away under the skull that it adorns on its neck. An intense glow shines throughout the stadium, as for the first time in known history, a Mega Evolution has taken place in the Johto region. The crowd erupts with this turn of events, as cheers for Karen and chants of her name fill the stadium. While Lance realizes that she has found a way to close the gap in their power as trainers, this battle has gotten far more complicated. What follows is a demonstration of the mastery of these two high-level trainers, as their Pokemon give it their all, with both Karen and Lance seemingly having found a new respect for each other. But everything must come to an end, and though Lance has made great progress with Gyarados since its days as a rage-fueled beast, the Serpent is unable to keep up with Houndoom in its Mega Evolved state, falling to a Thunderfang and bringing this battle to a close. This leaves the whole stadium in a stunned silence, as while they all thought the idea of Lance losing his title could be fun, they never thought it could actually happen. But this is soon rectified as Lance meets Karen in the middle of the battlefield to raise the hand of the new champion in victory. Go asks if Ash has ever seen a champion lose their title to another before, but the boy says he can't remember anything ever happening like that in all of the regions he's been to. This is a first for him, which is a reminder for the boy that he is also a champion, and this is a very real thing that could happen to him one day. But this thought is interrupted when Go tells Ash that they are making an announcement as an old man takes to the field. Ash tells Go that that's Mr. Goodshow, the president of the Pokemon League for Kanto, Johto, and Sinnoh, so they should listen to what he has to say. This peeves Go a bit, as that is what he was trying to explain, but it seems Ash was completely oblivious to it until he had mentioned something. However, he just ignores it as these announcements are important. The president informs everyone that Lance, while no longer a member of the Johto Championship, will still be the champion of the Kanto region. And with that, Mr. Goodshow has decided that he will also, for the first time in history of the Pokemon League, be separating the two leagues and their Elite Fours. So with that said, Bruno will no longer be a member of the Johto Elite Four. This causes a low murmur to wash over the crowd, as they are curious about this revelation. For as long as anyone has known, Kanto and Johto have been joined, and they are now going to be separate. This also brings into question, with Karen now the champion and Bruno gone, they are now down two members of their Elite Four. But Mr. Goodshow has a solution to this, asking the current remaining members to join him on stage. This is where Ash gets to see a familiar face, as the former gym leader Koga is now a member of the Johto Elite Four. This leaves him to wonder on who is running the gym back in Fuchsia City, but that's something he can check out when they are back in Kanto, as Koga and another trainer known as Will, who is apparently a psychic type trainer, have now joined Karen in the middle of the stadium. It is at this point that Mr. Goodshow hands the mic off to the new champion to introduce the newest members of her Elite Four. Both of these individuals are people that Ash has personally met in the past, and Karen scouted them both. The first is the water type specialist known as Trinity. She has performed at high levels of battle in competitions like the World Cup here in Johto, and even won the Grand Festival in the Sinnoh region. While Ash remembers her fondly, it's the next introduction that has his full attention, as a boy that Ash once battled and who was undefeated until Ash beat him, Shingo, enters the arena. Go can see that this boy has Ash's full attention and asks who he is. Ash explains that Shingo is a very powerful trainer. He barely beat him the last time they battled, so if he's a member of the Elite Four, then he must have some really good accomplishments under his belt. However, Ash doesn't realize how right he is here. As Karen introduces the boy, she mentions that he is the youngest trainer of the Elite Four and shares many of her own beliefs, but he is also undefeated in official battles. This comment gets under Ash's skin a bit, as he knows that Shingo lost to him and his Heracross, so there's no way he's undefeated. But the boy won't be able to contest this at this current time, as there is a much more pressing matter. With all of the new members, they need to determine who is the strongest of the new elites. So in the spirit of things, there will be a series of battles to determine the best and worst among the group. Karen will be overseeing this personally, and the event is open to the public in 1 month's time. With this announcement, the festivities have been brought to an end. It is here that Go asks if they are heading to Equatique City. Ash confirms this, telling his friend that he feels like he needs to get the insight of a ghost specialist. One of the only one he knows lives right here in Johto, the leader of the Equatique gym, Morty. It just so happens his ace Pokemon is a Gengar as well, so if anyone can help him train with his Gengar so that they can become stronger, he would be the one. It's here that things click for Go. That's why Ash wanted to train with Alistair, since his ace was also a Gengar. That's right, Ash says. He knows that Gengar can be mischievous Pokemon, and that his has a nature that is probably dialed to 11, but he wants to make sure that he explores all options that he can to help Gengar get stronger. After all, what happened with his other trainer is not something Ash wants to happen with him. I don't think that's something you will have to worry about, Ash. You two seem pretty inseparable. Smiling, Ash tells Go thanks for his vote of confidence, as we fade to a day later with our heroes as they are heading down out of the mountains. Before they left, Ash called Professor Oak to change out one member of his current team, trading Unpheasant for the dragon Noivern. Ash figures he could use it to train with his new Dracovish, as they are both of the dragon typing. It is here we find our heroes in mid-conversation. Go asks if he thinks that they are lost, but Ash tells the boy that they couldn't be more wrong. Ash knows exactly where they are, as he lets out a loud yell, "Hey! Are you out there?" that echoes throughout the mountain range. This causes Go to get a bit nervous, as he tells Ash to keep it down. Mount Silver is supposed to have very high level Pokemon, and the last thing they want to do is attract attention to them. But Ash just stands there, almost ignoring his friend, as a quaking can be felt working its way towards the two. Now slightly panicking, Go tells Ash that they have to go, or they will end up on the menu for a very hungry predator. But the boy doesn't budge. Even Pikachu remains calm, as the ground is now shaking violently. Terror now setting in, Go freezes as a large shadowy figure makes itself known, towering right in front of Ash. Go tries to choke out the words for Ash to run, but the boy can merely make out a squeaking sound as the figure appears to lunge at Ash. Go watches frozen in fear as his friend is mauled, or so he thinks, but Ash is just laughing as the Pokemon comes into view. It's a Tyranitar that is hugging Ash? Like they're old friends. Wait, Ash, what's going on? Go asks. Oh, this is a buddy of mine, Tyranitar. Ash then goes on to explain that he met it and returned it to Mount Silver to be with its mother. Now it's all grown up, and it's the protector of the local area, as since Ash was here last, the whole place has been now turned into one giant Pokemon preserve. Ash compliments the rock type on how much it's grown and how strong it's become. He can feel its power with each step. Tyranitar growls, flexing its muscles, kind of showing off, but then it stops mid-pose as its growls turn more intense. Someone is here, and Tyranitar can sense it. Turning, the pseudo looks back at the pathway as it can feel the footsteps of someone coming up their way. But this isn't someone that the guardian of the area is familiar with. The situation becomes very intense as a figure begins to appear at the end of the pathway. Tyranitar begins to growl as it doesn't like intruders on its mountain. However, Ash is the one to defuse the situation. This person is someone he knows, as a very confident voice asks if Ash is ready for the rematch he promised. As the person comes into view, it becomes apparent who this person is. Shingo appears with a smile on his face. Ash smiles back. "You know, Karen was awfully generous with that statement that you're undefeated," Ash says. "I seem to recall that I was the first one to beat you. I'm not the one that claimed that. She was the one who made that statement. But she isn't wrong. Since we battled last, I've won every official battle I've had, and our battle wasn't exactly official in the eyes of the league." Pulling out a Pokeball, Ash says he thinks that they need to change that. "How about a coronation battle?" Smiling, Shingo says Ash read his mind, as the Rotom hovers above the two, signaling that this will be an official battle. Wait, in a place this remote, Go questions, but Ash says there's no better place. After all, he wants to make sure that they can test each other out. Smiling, Shingo tells Ash things will be different than last time, but our hero quips that he hopes Shingo won't be trying to use his computer. After all, his battle data is out of date, just like it was last time, but the boy smiles, telling Ash that he's not the only one who has grown, so he hopes that he is ready. The two stand, each other holding a Pokeball as they are given the command to begin. Ash wastes no time, declaring, "Rowlet, I choose you." The sleepy starter emerges from its ball with a yawn, just waking up from a nap. While just opposite of the two, this is the chance that we get to see a Pokemon that Shingo is very confident in, as his ball pops to reveal the bug type Ladian, who Shingo addresses as Knuckles. The bug type emerges with a throwing of its fists in the air, demonstrating its intent to battle. Ash comments that Ladian looks tough, so Rowlet will need to be careful, but the grass type is still trying to wake up, with Shingo telling Ash that he hopes his bird is up for the task. Smiling, our hero says not to worry, they won't be disappointed. "Now Rowlet, use Feather Dance." The bird finally awakens enough to shower the bug in a barrage of feathers. However, Shingo is fully aware of what this will do to Knuckles, so the new Jotonian elite commands for an agility in an attempt to outpace the move. This works in Shingo's favor as the feathers skate by Knuckles, but Ash won't let it get away. Already on the move, calling for a Brave Bird, which Rowlet is able to demonstrate with its speed as it crashes into the bug for some super effective damage. But this does have one downside, as the starter is struck with recoil. But this is the least of Ash and Rowlet's problems, as the spotted bug is able to use its newfound speed to land an aerial ace, capitalizing on the recoil Rowlet took. This puts the bird in a less than favorable position, but Ash isn't going to let things slip from his grasp, using the momentum of the aerial ace to help Rowlet in countering with a Shadow Sneak that allows it to outpace the super effective move to prevent a knockout and causing some priority damage to the bug. This results in the two separating, both showing the strain of the damage that they have taken with how heavy their breathing is. But Ash and Rowlet are stubborn, showing their guts by charging in with another Brave Bird. However, Shingo smiles, telling Ash that won't be as easy, as he orders a Drain Punch from his bug. Charging its fist with energy, Knuckles strikes at Rowlet's attempts to end the battle, canceling out any damage that it would have taken. But there is another effect. Slowly, the Drain Punch is sapping the grass type of its own strength with each successful connection. Rowlet can barely keep up as it struggles to fly, but unfortunately it's too late, as one final punch knocks the bird out for good, bringing this battle to an end. Recalling Rowlet, Ash thanks it as Knuckles and Shingo watch on. A simple smile adorns the face of Ash's opponent. Man, Shingo really has gotten stronger, but that won't stop Ash. He beat him once, so he can do it again. Maybe a little beginner's luck will be just what he needs here. "Dracovish, I choose you." The amalgam pops from its ball, shocking Shingo, as he's never seen something this odd to look at before. But Ash is Ash, and he knows that he can't take him lightly. While this is happening, both Go and Tyranitar are watching, curious about what is happening here. The rock type is especially interested in, as it hasn't gotten a chance to experience an intense battle since its days with traveling with Ash as a Lavatar. The pseudo watches, eyes glued, as it doesn't want to miss a thing. As the two watch, the battle begins with Ash calling for his dragon to use a dragon's breath. However, Shingo knows that they have the advantage here, calling for agility. This allows Knuckles to dodge the attack, but Ash isn't going to let this go unanswered, calling for a Super Fang. Knowing this actually could end them if it hits, Shingo calls for his final play to prevent a knockout, as his bug uses a move called Baton Pass. This causes the bug to retreat into its Pokeball, and for Shingo to send out something that will be able to tank the Super Fang far more effectively, as the rival's strongest Pokemon, Blade, emerges from its ball, taking the bite to one of its metal pincers. Ash, you remember Blade, don't you? Well, it's ready for payback for beating it the last time. A metal clang can be heard as Dracovish's jaws clamp down on Blade's claw, but there is an unforeseen effect here as Blade begins to squirm in pain. This catches Shingo off guard as Ash smiles. I figured you might try something like that. That's why I went with Dracovish. Its ability is Strong Jaw, so any biting moves it uses will be increased in power. Since Super Fang already cuts Blade's health in half, the added effect of its ability must be leaving it feeling like it can't use that arm. Shingo doesn't know what to say. Ash was ahead of him the whole time. He knew Blade would come out and wanted to force it as quickly as possible, but the elite won't be bested that easily, as he commands Blade to use a bullet punch on the face of the aquatic dragon. The Crimson Bug begins to pummel Dracovish's face with its free claw. While normally this wouldn't be a big deal, Shingo smiles as his ability comes into play. Don't hold on too long, Ash. Those punches are packing more of a punch than you realize. Looking closer, Ash realizes Shingo is right. Technician, he thinks. Dracovish, quick, slam Blade into the ground. Quickly, the fossil lifts its head, dodging the last punch of the bug, before slamming its steel-bodied opponent into the ground with a mighty thud, then stepping back at the command of its trainer. This allows Blade some room to breathe as it stands back up, but unfortunately, it is completely unable to move its left arm due to the damage it had suffered. Realizing they need to end this before that thing can get its jaws on it again, Shingo orders Blade to use the only thing it can attack with at a time like this, a sand tomb. Suddenly, the ground beneath Ash's Mon becomes soft as it slowly sinks in. Our hero can do nothing but watch as Dracovish has no arms to counter, as the sand slowly traps the dragon. This gives Shingo the opening needed to cause some serious damage as Blade lets loose with another flurry of one-armed punches that are aided by the increase of its speed from the Baton Pass. The dragon can do nothing but take the claws to the face, unable to guard itself. Ash knows that he has to do something or he's going to lose this battle, but then it hits him. Dracovish is a water type as well, so he commands it to use a water gun, but Shingo tells Ash that it's no use. That won't stop Blade's assault. However, Ash isn't trying to stop it. He's trying to widen the area of the sand tomb, as with each movement of Blade's claw, the now wet ground is slowly beginning to swallow the steel type as well. Shingo realizes this a little too late, as Blade is now waist deep, unable to pull itself out with its bad arm. The bug is forced to abandon its pummeling session in favor of trying to get out of range of Dracovish's attack, but it can't move in time and is hit with an ancient power that slams the bug in the head. This has a double added effect for Ash, as his dragon glows in a strange aura. Realizing Dracovish just got a power increase, Ash tells it to try and break free. The abomination begins to struggle, trying to loosen the sand. However, it's no use. Even with the stat buff, the lack of arms makes it next to impossible to escape. As Dracovish struggles, Blade is nearly free. Both Ash and Dracovish watch as Ash is now out of ideas of what to do next, but his fossil has something to say about this. As its frustration grows, something starts to happen. Dracovish begins to glow in a dragonic aura. This is different than before. As the dragon squeals and shouts, the aura surges as Blade turns only to witness Dracovish burst from its sandy mud with its jaws wide open. Ash realizes that this is their chance, ordering another Super Fang, but this time it is unguarded as Dracovish clamps down on Blade's head with a complete and total knockout. This leaves Shingo in complete disbelief. The only thing that he can do is recall the steel type, contemplating his next move. However, there is only one, as he is forced to send back in Knuckles. But this isn't the best situation, as the bug is weakened from the battle with Rowlet. However, there is another real issue that the elite has to face, as Dracovish is still glowing in its dragonic aura. But that's not all, as it seems a primal urge has overcome the dragon as the battle begins with Knuckles throwing a drain punch. In an attempt to land a knockout, it ignores Ash's command for a dodge and charges in, taking the attack to the head, before pushing through to blast the opponent with a dragon's breath. But this is no ordinary dragon's breath, as it seems to feed off of the aura surrounding Dracovish, using it as an energy source to decisively bring this battle to an end. The whole demonstration leaves everyone in complete and total surprise, as Dracovish stands above Knuckles with a blank stare in its face, unsure of what just happened. Ash walks to his fossil, asking if it's okay, but it simply chomps down on his head in a playful manner, signaling that what just happened is now over. Well, Shingo says, I guess I'm no longer defeated, smiling at Ash as both their Rotom phones go off. Shingo was 540 before the battle, so this will give Ash a healthy bump up in his ranking, though it won't be lower than what his ranking was before, as he is now 737, while Shingo has dropped to 700 flat. Well, at least I'm still higher than you, he says, as the two laugh. This is where Go and Tyranitar join the two, as the boy asks Ash about the aura that Dracovish was enveloped in. Ash says he doesn't know. He's never seen anything like it. Go mentions that he recorded it with his Rotom phone, so they can review it later. Ash agrees as he recalls Dracovish. Whatever that power is, we will want to make sure we watch it carefully. It may be dangerous. Then Ash turns to Shingo, telling him thank you for the battle. It was definitely more intense than their last one. The Elite tells Ash that they need to have another battle, when he's had a chance to face the other members of the Elite Four. The two laugh once more, with Ash turning to Tyranitar. It's been great to see you again, my friend. You've grown up so strong. Go ask Ash if this Pokemon is his that he released like Lapras or Primeape. But Ash shakes his head, stating that Tyranitar was only a Pokemon that he traveled with. He returned it to Mount Silver after its egg was stolen from its mother. Go comments that their bond makes him think it was actually his Pokemon. When I first saw it, I thought you were going to capture it. Shingo seconds this, telling Ash that the two seem really close. Ash looks at Tyranitar as they both laugh. The two are great friends, but they both must acknowledge the truth. Tyranitar must stay here on the mountain. It is the guardian of this place. If I were to take it on a journey with me, that would leave this place vulnerable, and that's the last thing that Ash wants. But Ash tells them both not to worry. The next time he is on Mount Silver, they will have the chance to battle together. The two then give each other a thumbs up as we fade a week ahead. We now shift perspective to the largest, most modern city of the Johto region, Goldenrod. We find ourselves at the department store as we pick up with our favorite terrible trio, Jessie, James, and Meowth. The three have been here in Goldenrod since the events with Mewtwo. After wandering for weeks, they found themselves broken, beaten, and bruised. It was at this point they realized the boss had abandoned them. Team Rocket was no more, as Giovanni put all of their resources into capturing Mewtwo, but they couldn't let the boss do what he had planned to Mewtwo or potentially the other clones. This resulted in the one thing they had always feared, which was a place without acceptance. But this was all a brief moment, as the three found themselves taking one day at a time. Realizing no one was going to save them, the trio decided to use their own tenacity and grit to slowly start building a life for themselves. With Meowth's ability to gain connections, James's cleverness in developing ideas and products, and Jessie's ability to, well, manage, they were able to start a small business in the department store on the top floor. Slowly, they were able to build that business up until eventually it became one of the most popular trinket and odd find shops in all of Goldenrod. This leads us to the modern day, where Meowth and Jessie are returning from a very lucrative position that they had at the Silver Conference. The two figured they could put their past experiences to good use and opened a small souvenir shop like they had so many times before. With a complete sellout of their products, the feline and the redhead return with full wallets ready to share the spoils with James. However, as Jessie and Meowth enter the floor of the department store that their shop is on, an ominous presence can be felt. While the whole floor seems busy as usual, Meowth can't help but feel like something isn't right. But Jessie tells the Scratch Cat to stop worrying. They have built a nice life here, something away from Team Rocket. They were even able to get all of their Pokemon back that they had lost to the evil organization over the years. So, as far as she's concerned, there's no reason to be down. Jessie says this as both her and Meowth enter their shop, only to be halted in their tracks by a sight that they didn't expect to see. James standing behind the counter with an absolute stunned look on his face. In front of him, two patrons that have said nothing stand looking at the purple-haired man. Jessie seems oblivious to this interaction that's happening as she walks by into the back while telling James he should finish up. They can close early after the haul that they got at the Silver Conference. But Meowth instantly knows something is up as the hairs on its back stand on end. Hey, you twos, I think it's time for you to leave. This gets Jessie's attention as she peers out from behind the curtain, telling Meowth that it shouldn't be so rude to paying customers. However, as Jessie begins to lock eyes with the two, she realizes that these are not paying customers. They are none other than the Johto-based Team Rocket operatives, Attila and Hun. The blonde burly operative smiles, telling the trio they've done well for themselves. It looks like business is booming if you can close down for the day. While James is unable to speak, Jessie's temper immediately takes over as the redhead demands to know what they are doing here. Team Rocket was disbanded, so anything these two think that they are owed is something they will not be given. However, this is where Jessie is shut down when Attila asks who told her that Team Rocket was disbanded. That command was never given by our leader. This is where Hun steps forward as Jessie, James, and now Meowth have joined them as they are given a black Rotom phone. As it is laid on the countertop, the phone begins to vibrate before a hologram emerges from the screen, revealing a very angry yet very alive Giovanni. The appearance of the boss causes the three to clench up as all of their fears take over. Boss, James says, it's good to see you, but Giovanni isn't one for pleasantries, telling the trio there is work to be done. Since the failure of their mission at the Tree of Beginnings, Team Rocket has lost over 60% of their forces. So you three are to finish playing house and return to the base of the Lake of Rage at once. There is a mission and it requires all to be successful. Jessie tries to say something, but before she can get out any words, Giovanni hangs up, leaving Attila and Hun to ask, so, when are we leaving? Now we pick up with Ash and Go as they arrive in Equitique City, the main reason they have come to Johto in the first place. They find themselves outside of the city's gym as Ash is hoping that all of the time that took him to travel here isn't for nothing. Before Ash pushes on the door, he lets Gengar out of its ball, telling the ghost type, who has been down since his loss to Graplock back in Stoneside. Ash tells it not to worry. The reason it lost was on him. He needs a better understanding of the ghost typing if he wishes to bring out Gengar's full potential. So no matter what Ash has to do, he will get stronger for Gengar and the rest of their friends. The ghost type acknowledges Ash's will and it feeds into it as they push on the door of the gym together. Go asks Ash if he's sure about this, to which the boy nods. Morty was the first ghost type specialist he ever met, and with Ash having the least amount of experience with this typing, this is the best move that he can think of. However, as they enter the gym and call Morty's name, there is no answer. Ash calls again, but only echoes are the reply, leaving the boy speechless. Well, it looks like there's no one home, Go responds. Seeing the look on Gengar's face, Ash tells it not to worry. There's still a few other places in the town that they can check, so Ash tells them that they are going to head to the burned tower. It's the perfect place for ghost types. With nothing else to go on, our heroes begin to walk as Go asks Ash what he knows about the towers. Ash begins to recall the story that was told to him by Morty. This story has some interest to Go as Ho-Oh being involved and the power it has to bring Pokemon back to life. This thought is something Go as a researcher is going to want to look into, as this power is a mystery that he would want to solve. But this will have to wait as they arrive at the tower and Go gazes upon the majesty of the fire-scorched building. Go stops for a moment to take it all in, but it's going to be interrupted by Ash's urgency. Running to catch up, the duo quickly find themselves in the darkness of the burned tower where Gengar becomes giddy with excitement. This place is a ghost type's dream as it takes off into the shadows. The duo quickly fan out, exploring the ruins, but once again, they find nothing. Gengar is losing hope, but Ash assures it that there is still one more place Morty has to be. So they depart from the burned tower, heading to the golden tower that stands to the east of it. Less than 30 minutes later, they arrive in what appears to be a house of some sort that is a welcoming area for the brass tower. However, Go and Ash are going to be met with a pleasant surprise. There are trainers that specialize in one type of Pokemon, the evolutions, but that's not what has the attention of the duo. It's the one oddball among them. Chloe and her Eevee are playing with its evolutions. Ash and Go rush to greet their friend. Go asks what Chloe is doing here, to which the girl explains that she and Maid had finished up with the contest in Slateport City. After that, they headed back to her hometown in Petalburg. May said that she would be staying there for a while, so Chloe decided to head home. But May told her about a group of sisters here in Johto that all specialized in Eevee and its evolutions, so she figured it wouldn't hurt to stop by and check it out. And here we are. Chloe mentions that they have been here for about a week and they had a chance to learn a lot. Both Ash and Go tell Chloe that they are glad that they got the chance to learn. They want to catch up with her more, but they are interrupted when a group of people people emerge from the house. This group is one Ash knows all too well, as it is the Kimono sisters with the gym leader of the town, Morty. Ash changes his focus, running with Gengar in tow to greet the gym leader and the sisters. However, the mood is one of intensity as Ash, Pikachu, and Gengar approach. This stops the boy as he is greeted by the group, but it isn't a happy greeting. Morty asks Ash if he is here because of Kurt. Wait, Kurt, Ash says? You mean the Pokeball maker? Morty tells Ash the one and the same. This is where Go and Chloe join Ash as one of the girls, Sakura, the Espeon trainer, steps forward. Espeon and I had a nightmare last night about a frightening power, and then there was a flash and we saw Kurt. Something attacked him. Anger and destruction. It was all so hazy. Ash is immediately concerned. Has anyone contacted him? Ash questions, but he is quickly informed that they haven't been able to get through to Azalea Town. All communications have been cut off. Now concerned, Ash asks what Morty is going to do. The gym leader tells Ash that he understands it was just a dream, but he will be heading to Azalea Town to double check up on things. It's for the peace of mind of all of us, as Kurt is a friend to everyone here. Ash looks at Go, only for the boy to understand the importance of this to Ash, and simply nods. Turning back, Ash tells Morty that they will be going with him. Wait, are you sure? The leader asks. Kurt is an old friend of his, so it's the right thing to do. Besides, it will take some time to get there, so me and you can have some practice battles. Me and my Gengar came here to ask if you would help us train. Morty smiles, telling Ash that he would like that. After all, he and his Gengar haven't had a good battle in a while, and the way Ash beat them the last time means they could be in for some excitement, if you will. So it's settled then. Me, Go, and Chloe will join you. But the girl is quick to tell Ash that she won't be leaving Equitique City. She wants to stay here so her and Eevee can learn as much as possible before heading home. Ash and Go are fine with this as they both look at Morty. Let's get going. Now we follow up with Jesse, James, and Meowth as they are led by Attila and Hun deep into the base of Team Rocket that caused the Red Gyarados to rampage across the lake so many years before. The three are nervous and talking amongst themselves. They had thought that Team Rocket had fell, but it seems it is thriving. However, this word is a loose term, as the forces in this base are far less than what they had at the Tree of Beginning. They take notice, but there is something else here. The mood of the grunt forces appears to be that of a vigorous young army. This is where Attila breaks the tension, asking if Jesse and James like what they have done. Though their forces are small, they are ready for a new beginning, the glorious resurrection of Team Rocket. However, they stop as a person that commands their presence comes into view. Giovanni and Morty are going over some things with one of the generals called Viper. However, this is stopped when Hun tells the boss that they have brought what he had asked. Suddenly, a strange smile crosses Giovanni's face, something the trio has never seen before. The boss tells Morty and the others that they will finish this later. He has some much needed business to attend to. Gio then tells our favorite villains to follow him. With a tremble in each step, they quickly find themselves behind closed doors, with Giovanni sitting behind his desk as they usually see him. Gio smiles once more, asking how they have been. He was afraid that he had lost his newest admins after what had happened in their last mission. Meowth is the first to speak, pointing out they barely made it out in one piece. They were lost without the leadership of the boss. However, Jesse doesn't like this beating around the bush, saying that Gio abandoned them in favor of his own self-preservation, so they don't even know why they are here. As far as she's concerned, they owe him nothing. Smiling even deeper, Gio tells them sorry about that, but he had to get away so that way he could start his plans for their rise back to the top. But as far as them owing Team Rocket nothing, they both know that's not true. Jesse's temper begins to flare, but Gio quickly shuts this down by stating he knows that they had raided the main Rocket hideout and stole property that belonged to him. So they do owe him, and they will pay their debt, or suffer the consequences. What do you mean, stole? Those Pokemon belong to us, Jesse says. We just took what belongs to us. However, she is quickly shut up by James, as he asks what Giovanni wants. With a smirk, Giovanni says it's simple. There is an item they have located in an Azalea town that seems to give off an immense power. I require it for the plan that I have to put Team Rocket back on top. And since you owe me for that theft of my property, you will do this. And what happens if we don't, James asks. Oh, it's simple. You three will never be heard from again. With a wince in his eye, James speaks for the three, saying that they will do it. Good, Gio says. Gather the supplies you need. After all, this won't be an easy task. The three then take their leave, with Gio looking on victorious. As the door closes, Midori appears from within the shadows. Are you sure it is smart to send those three for this task? Gio smiles. Those three will not return alive. They are merely the fodder to allow us to succeed. Over with the trio, Meowth and Jessie are yelling at James for getting them into this. They didn't have to get back into this life of Team Rocket. They were free and they had each other, but James tells them both that they are short-sighted. If they didn't agree, then they wouldn't have walked out of there at all. At least now they have a chance to do what Meowth says, to find a way out, James replies, as they enter a room filled with all the Dynamax pills and begin to outfit themselves with enough to transform an entire team. Now we move a week from this point as we catch up with Ash and the rest of the group. They are very close to Azalea Town, and over the time traveling, Ash and Morty have been battling non-stop. With Morty's instruction, Ash and Gengar have begun to understand each other. At first, there was a clear difference between them and Morty. Ash's Gengar couldn't win to save his life. While they were a bit overwhelmed in the beginning, Ash quickly began to understand the nuances of Gengar. The boy's understanding of his ghost type began to reach a new level. Ash has begun to see things that he didn't notice before. As Ash describes it, he can now see things through Gengar's eyes, is what it feels like. They have begun to develop a connection that Ash didn't know was possible. The whole time this training has been happening, Ash's egg has been responding to the emotions between the two. The positive flow of energy it has been exposed to has taken an effect on it. The egg is closer now than it ever has been to hatching, but this is something that Ash has been completely oblivious to, due to his training. This continues until the day comes when the trio is outside of Azalea Town. It is here that Ghost stops. This area seems familiar to him, but he can't quite put his finger on why. However, this quickly changes when something catches his eye. Some sort of wooden shrine that stands alone in the middle of the forest. Go can do nothing but stare as a memory of someone plays in his head. Hey Go, are you okay? Ash says, to which the boy replies, yeah, just a bad memory. Well, let's get going. We're almost to Azalea Town. Go takes one last look before turning to catch up with Ash and Morty. A few hours later, the group is on the outskirts of the town when something can be felt. A quake shakes the surrounding countryside, but this is the least of their worries as Ash and Go see a sight that is familiar to them. Something that shouldn't happen outside of the Galar region. It's a Dynamax Pokemon. More importantly, it's a Seviper. There's only one person Ash knows that has a Seviper. It's here the boy begins to run with both Morty and Go telling him to wait up, but this is to no avail, as when they enter the city, they see Seviper coiled around the spot that Kurt's house is supposed to be. In front of it, Jessie, James, and Meowth stand. Ash demands that they stop, or he will stop them, but before he can complete the sentence, Seviper begins to scream in pain as a glowing begins to peek through its coils. Then, an explosion happens as Seviper's Dynamax runs its course. Fire and smoke envelop the surrounding area before a pulse of energy surges. In a brief flash, Ash can see what appears to be the GS ball at the center, with Team Rocket and it vanishing from his sights. Fire begins to ravage throughout the town. This is something that needs to be stopped, causing Ash, Morty, and Go to send in their Pokemon in an attempt to fight the fire. Even the city's gym leader, Bugsy, calls upon his bug types to help. Unfortunately, the effort of the collective isn't enough, as the old wooden buildings are perfect kindling. Everyone can do nothing but watch in hopelessness. That is, until a command is given. Dragonite, Rain Dance, Gyarados, Hydro Pump. Turning, our heroes see two very familiar faces in the Dragon Masters Lance and Claire. They have arrived in response to the tremors that were felt. With this new assistance, everyone is able to fight back the flames until there is nothing more than cinders. But as Go gives a command to Sobble for a water gun, a familiar voice to the boy is heard as he commands his Cloyster to use a water gun. Turning, Go sees someone that he never thought he would see again. Horus, Go says. And this is where we are going to leave things for now. So tell me, what did you think about this part? Do you like the way I created a new champion in Elite Four for the Johto region and added a division between it and Kanto? What about the battle between Shingo and Ash? What did you think about that? And how about Team Rocket? What is Giovanni's plan with the GS Ball? And of course, who is this Horus, and what importance is he to Go? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. that's all we had for today's video. I really appreciate you guys stopping by to watch all the way to the end, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. If you guys really enjoy my content, consider following me on some of my other platforms like Discord, where you can get to know other people who are interested in what ifs, or on Twitter, where I post sometimes behind the scenes updates. Or if you want to help the channel grow a little bit extra, why don't you consider donating like the people right here have, as whatever you could offer could help us get to a larger audience by helping us get new videos done, or some of the projects that we've been working. Custom art is getting kind of expensive, so we want to make sure that we have the funds to do that. But with all that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed everything, and I will see you in the next video.